Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. Today we're going to be talking about Russia-Ukraine war update. Of course, more missiles hit Ukraine. But this is a war that was avoidable. There were many people involved that could have stopped this, including President Biden, including the EU, including NATO. Of course, you got Zelensky, and of course, you also got Putin. Could have all avoided this, but they chose war. This is all to do with Ukraine and Ukraine joining NATO. I know it's nothing official, but that was their result. That's what they were aiming for. And of course, you got Putin that misjudged the situation, misread. Who knows? But according to this, that was done at 8:38 a.m. today on December the 7th, Russia hits Ukraine with missiles, warns of clash between nuclear powers as drones target Russia bases. I guess we're attacking Russia now? Well, Ukraine is attacking Russia. Keep Ukraine. Russia retaliates in brutal fashion this week after drone strikes target 3 airfields, including 2 deep inside its territory. The last strike came Tuesday morning against a Russia airport just across the border from Ukraine. It was preceded by 2 others on Monday that saw drones penetrate hundreds of miles into Russia. Well, all is fair in love and war. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, Russia invades Ukraine. It opens the floodgates for Ukraine to go into Russia. First strikes with which Ukraine has not claimed responsibility for, vaguely calling it karma for Russian invasion and air assault that began in February, drew a new barrage of missiles from Russia forces taking aim at dozens of targets in Ukraine. I mean, Russia needs to be careful with their bombs, because Nazi Germany bombed Russia. Boy, did they bomb Russia. And when the Nazi soldiers went into Russia, they were in ambush through the rubble. That gave the Russians a lot of hiding places to snipe the Nazis at. And this could be something that Russians are going to see. They bomb Ukraine, which is giving them ample places to set up ambushes, and when Russian troops go into those cities, if they ever get a strong enough force, they could also be sniped and ambushed. It's just something to keep in mind. Russia's been trying to demoralize Ukraine's and their army by knocking out power and water infrastructure. Monday, frenzied attack on cities and towns across the country saw more than 70 missiles fired, according to Ukraine officials. Kyiv governor said about 40% of the capital region was left in its dark, but the impact from Moscow assault could have been far worse if it were not for the Ukraine missile defenses that United States and allies are paying for. Ukraine officials said the vast majority of the rockets fired by Russia on Monday were shot out of the sky. Still small comfort for those who paid the ultimate price, including Ola Transnaya, 2 neighbors. They were seeing off their son and daughter-in-law. Tronosa told CBS News in Kyiv. They went outside to wave goodbye and they were killed. Their house was also destroyed. Very sad. Yeah, when governments don't get along, unfortunately, it's the people of both nations that suffer. I also feel sorry for the Russian soldiers, because they may not want to fight this war, but they're being told to. I mean, I get that just following orders isn't a valid excuse, but they're just following orders. I mean, the government says to go attack Ukraine, they're going to go attack Ukraine. It's no different than when the United States attacked Afghanistan and Iraq. I didn't really have a choice where I was going. I was going to either one of them. I just happened to go to Iraq. I mean, sure, I could have left. I could have gotten a less than honorable discharge and not have to go over there. But I didn't. I went over there. Aiming a volley of missiles, Moscow also hurled another dire warning at the U.S. and Ukraine, other Western backers. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who's been a close advisor to President Vladimir Putin for decades, called NATO alliance support for Ukraine a serious threat to Russia and warned that it risks a direct clash between nuclear powers with catastrophic consequences. Catastrophic? Oh my God, I'm trying to say that. Russia has ruthlessly targeted Ukraine's civilian infrastructure for months, destroying homes along with key pieces of the country's energy grid. Putin has been accused of weaponizing winter by plunging huge parts of the neighboring country into cold and darkness. Once again, all is fair in love and war. I don't know who came up with that. I don't know if that's Shakespearean. But I know there's war crimes, but there's also things that nations do that they shouldn't do. But they just lop it off of, we were at war, bro. I mean, war is hell. There's no set rules. There's guidelines that you're not supposed to go to. There's actual war crimes that you could commit and you want to avoid doing that. But outside of those, everything is fair game. In the southern city of Kherson, which was liberated from Russian invading forces just 3 weeks ago, volunteers now have little choice but to cook meals over open fires so people have something hot to eat. 9 months of Russian occupation has liberated any semblance of normalcy in Kherson. But what Ukrainians have shown time and again, that they'll do anything they could do to help each other and resist Putin's effort to quash their spirit. That's the other issue that Putin has to be worried about, is that he could be giving these people purpose. They're motivating them. He could be motivating the volunteer military in Ukraine or the military in Ukraine. He could be motivating them that they're fighting for the life of their soul. They're fighting for their nation. There's no greater motivation than fighting for oneself, one's independence. And that's something that he has to keep in mind when this war keeps dragging on. Just like Stalin's Red Army was fighting the good fight to protect Russia against Germany. That was a good motivation. I mean, yeah, it wasn't just clear cut. Stalin did send people to the meat grinder, just as Hitler did. But it really comes down to who's more motivated to win. And right now, Ukrainians are really motivated to win. And I'm sensing this in the stories I read on it. Energy workers have become a vital part of the defense effort, scrambling to restore power lines in the bitter cold and having to pick up their way around unexploded ordnance that litter a huge part of Ukraine. Moscow continues to make life miserable for Ukrainians. Putin made a rare public appearance on Monday, cruising along the vital bridge that serves as the only land link between Ukraine, Russian-occupied Crimean Peninsula, and the Russian mainland in a Mercedes on Monday. The bridge was seriously damaged by an explosion 2 months ago. Ukraine declined to make a public take responsibility for that blast, as it did on Tuesday after 2 military bases some 300 miles inside Russia were struck by drones. Once again, officials on Kyiv put the blast down to karma, making it clear that whatever may happen in Russia is not Ukraine's fault, but Vladimir Putin's. This is kind of where I disagree. If you're going to coward around just saying it's karma, not taking responsibility for your actions, that's kind of a cowardly move. Own up to it. if Ukraine was actually behind the bridge and it was actually behind these attacks, they should own up to it and say, look, you attacked us. We're only giving you a taste of your own medicine. And this is why I don't trust the Ukrainian government. This is why I don't trust the NATO government. I certainly won't trust the Russian government because I don't know what's true. No one's really taking any initiative to admit what they've done. I think the only one that has done that was Russia. We still don't know who blew up the pipelines. Was that Ukrainian special forces? Was it Americans? Was it Russians? We don't know. We don't know. There's not a whole lot of information coming through. And this is on the day of the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Some call it a false flag. Some just call it fate. Some call it was the day that we started World War II, or we got into the fray. That's why some people call it a false flag, because they say that we let it happen to convince the people go into World War II, at least the American people. So there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to the Ukrainian-Russian conflict. And I don't know which is true other than what was been reported here. The truth is somewhere that Russia is responsible, Ukraine is responsible for the actions, and maybe there's a third party at play that we don't know. It could be mercenaries, it could be vigilantes, it could be the United States government, it could be Greece, it could be Germany, or it could be NATO. We don't know. We don't know who attacked Russia because no one's saying anything. Which is a damn shame, because we deserve to know the truth. We deserve to know if our government is doing military strikes on Russia. I mean, I get why the U.S. government's not going to say, because that's an act of war. Outside of giving them money and weapons. Anyways, leave a comment down below what your thoughts are. You can smash the like and subscribe button if you want. It's up to you, no pressure. With that being said, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.